curve here, but I'm way behind the curve. But she always slaps me when I. Anyway, that's another story altogether.
Oh, that curve!
Hey, good evening, everybody. You've got Gas, the Great American Auto Scene, coming to you live and direct, high atop the Gas Studios here in beautiful North Hollywood, California. With us in studio right now, the normal crew. It's the lovely Bruce Barker.
Hey, you know what threw me is not the lovely. It's when he said normal.
Normal, yes.
Come on,
Normal's just a setting on the dryer. And as well, and Anna just hit the wrong button on the seat, and she just dropped down and nearly pushed something up through her chin. All right, so there's Anna Octane. And in studio right now from the Road Kings Car Club, it's Don Baldessaroni. Oh, there goes Anna again. She just dropped 6 feet into the ground.
It's going to be one of those.
Oh, don't let Anna touch anything mechanical.
Unbelievable.
Oh, no, it's very believable. We got lots of stuff going on. Oh, and now when someone's trying to call me on my... Well, let's put this one out here. Let's see if how foolish this person can be. Yeah, hello there.
Are you serious?
You're live on Gas, the Great American Auto Scene.
Okay.
You're not live?
Oh.
That's one way to get rid of a telemarketer. All right, so that was quick and easy. I like that. All right, so we'll pull this. We'll
live
tone this down here.
We need a test tone and a test pattern.
Yeah.
You know, we interrupt this program for nothing.
Yeah, we interrupt this for So anyway, we'll try this. 25. Okay. And now we got the phone turned off. There we go,
folks! Live television.
Oh, and look at that! I can see Gas on my live feed, and Mark McGregor is watching us right now. He says he's melting in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, well, you moved there, guy. Let me explain to you how 72 degrees was today in Bananaheim.
Oh, you are
it was
mean.
So nice here. The overcast didn't clear till about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it was just beautiful, sunny Southern California weather. We've got a great show for you tonight. We got a lot of people supposed to be coming in or calling in. We're not sure who's going to come through the door next, but John Buck, who puts on the LA Roadster Show and the Grand National Roadster Show, is possibly either calling in or stopping in. He's on his way to the LA Roadster meeting tonight, which is right next door to the Road Kings meeting tonight in the same building.
Jeez.
And Don Baldessaroni is in the studio with us tonight. He's going to be talking about the Road Kings Car Show, and that's been going on for, I don't know, how many years, Don, have we been putting that show on at the Johnny Carson Park?
29 years.
29 years. In studio right behind me right now, walking through the door, it's Randy Cardoon. Hey. And if you're a local here in the Southern California area, you hear Randy Cardoon on KNX Radio 1070. And his show, talking about cars. So he's going to be in. We're going to be talking about the TMPCC Car Show. TMPCC. Yeah, I got that right. And the Taste of LA, where we were both at just a short time ago. And we actually tasted LA. Actually, it was a bunch of restaurants, and we were on the back lot of CBS Studio, and we got to take a look at some amazing cars and taste some great food. We're going to be talking about that. We got a lot of photographs taken by Ken Lotka of the TMPCC Club. He is the president. We're going to show some of those cars. And there's Randy on screen right now. This is when he was getting ready to interview me, and that is no simple chore, let me tell you. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some other things. There's a museum putting together some stuff. Anna, what's that all about?
The Historical Society of Long Beach is doing an exhibit on car culture in Long Beach, and they need archives.
Archives. Tell us about it. Now, you're going to have someone calling in.
Yes.
We'll get more information about that in just a little bit. But we've got a lot calling in, including famous IMSA racer Lyn St. James.
Ooh.
She's going to be calling in. She's going to be doing a book signing at Burbank Auto Books here in Burbank on June 23rd. She's just written a book, and it's going to be released. She's going to be signing it. I've already got my copy reserved. You can do it, too. We'll tell you all about that a little bit later on, but Lyn's going to be calling in just a little bit. She's driving to L.A. right now, so she can't be in studio with us, but she's going to call in.
Okay,
so we'll have her on phone in just a little bit. Lots going on. Randy, how was your drive in from the deepest, darkest parts of the San Fernando Valley?
I'm giving it about 5 more minutes before the CHP gets here.
Oh,
and,
yeah, okay.
We'll have the helicopters surrounding. It'll be all sorts of great fun.
So it's the Cannonball Run from the Valley, huh?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, good.
Did you bring up the Cannonball thing?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
But we can.
We can.
We can.
The fact that the Cannonball Run... Somebody in Hollywood came up with a great idea.
Yeah.
They're going to reboot Cannonball Run.
All right, we got to do this.
That'll be fun.
And I think what's interesting, and I want all you guys out there thinking about this, okay?
Okay.
Cannonball Run, you remember, it's basically Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and a whole bunch of big-name people you would know.
Yes.
Who would you like to see? Right, them
Yes.
too. Frank Sinatra,
Yeah.
Dean Martin.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
People who aren't with us anymore, but still a lot of people.
Yes.
And the question is, if you had a chance to cast this movie, what stars would you like to see in this movie?
The problem with that is our demographics
Burt Reynolds.
don't know any. Yeah, Burt Reynolds with his walker.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Burt, not.
I didn't say that.
I do that in all jest. I mean, I've seen you at Barrett Jackson, and you're still, one of the. Yes, you are. And
Brad
we're going.
Pitt and George Clooney.
Brad Pitt and George Clooney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chasing. What's her name?
And Margaret.
Anne Margaret. Oh. Yeah,
Ooh, Anne Margaret's still around.
Anne Margaret's still. But here's the problem: we need, if we're going to cast this movie, we have to have stars that people actually know, and the people that are going to watch this movie, are either geriatric like us, or they're so young they didn't know the first movie. So if they don't know the first movie, they've got to know who's in it to get them to go to it.
True.
So that's something to think about. But anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. A lot of other things going on right now. Don, why don't you tell us about the Road Kings Car Show? We'll start off with that because you've got a meeting to get to.
I got a meeting.
You got a meeting, and I'll be there shortly after you do. Tell us a little bit about the history of the Road Kings and what's going on this weekend at Johnny Carson Park.
Well, the Road Kings did start in Burbank in 1952.
Wow.
And,
before I was born. No,
yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah.
Never mind.
Bob.
What?
That was just right after I was born. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You were hatched. We know that.
Now who has the lizard nose?
Yeah.
Okay, now, wait, so let me.
Okay, there we go. Oh, that car looks familiar.
Hey, I know that car.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Whose car is
I
that?
may even bring that car out
Oh,
this
look
time.
at that fun show.
Yeah, this is Johnny Carson Park you're looking at right now, and we expect just as much fun. We do have Radican, Jackson, and Stern's vehicle. It's going to be firing up. That's not it. But, it's similar.
But that's the old Jimmy Miles car that is noted for dropping the crankshaft on the starting line. Was it Irwindale or Lions?
No, Lions.
Lions.
Yeah.
Wait,
In
more than one?
1966, I think it was.
Yeah. That guy looks familiar too.
That was the ex-mayor of Burbank.
Yeah, and some little short white-haired
Yeah,
guy.
there he is right there.
It's the mayor of Burbank.
He
Mayor
was.
of Burbank, yeah.
Who's that?
I don't know, but there's a indistinguishable photograph of you in
Mayor
there as
Gordon.
well, Anna.
is that
Oh,
right?
Jimmy
yeah, and the
Miles. Jimmy
Cackle
Miles,
Fest.
that was his
Cackle
car.
Fest.
And then they're going to fire up a bunch of top fuel cars at
Yeah.
Johnny Carson Park.
Oh, look at that.
Tommy
There's
Ivo.
Tommy.
And is that Frank Ney?
No, that was Ben.
Ben, okay.
Ben.
Now here's a great shot of a lot of the
Go
club
back
members'
one. Yeah,
cars,
there.
and one of the jackets. That jacket, I was curious about why wore red jacket, and we found out that it was Ivo's idea because he wanted the guys working or with him at the races to all look uniform. So he's the one that started the white shirts, the white pants, and the red jackets. The official colors were purple.
Yeah. Now look at that picture there.
Yeah, I'm
You see
looking
my
at it.
car there. And
I
then
see
you
your car
what's
there.
that blue
The blue thing.
thing up there?
I don't know. What's that blue
Whose
thing?
is that?
Oh, the Maverick.
The
I
Maverick,
remember
Bob.
that. Yeah, my old
Yeah.
Maverick.
Your old
Is that
Maverick.
your old Maverick?
My old
Yeah.
Maverick, yes.
Look at that.
A little blue one above that.
Little blue one right
little-
above the
little
yellow
grabber
one, next to
paint
the
job
blue one, next to the in between the red one.
Yeah,
Was
that's
it red and white, the Hot Rod Safari colors?
Yeah, kind
Yes,
of.
it was.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Hot
it
Rod
was, yeah.
Safari.
Yeah, and Tommy Ivo, when he had the T, was racing, and he wanted to, he was a showman at all times. And even back then, he would make the guys that were with him at the drag strips look like they were a team. So they all wore white Road King shirts, they had white pants on, and they wore the red jackets when it was cool enough that you could wear a jacket, and that's something Tommy Ivo started. The official colors of the Road Kings, purple.
Yeah. Oh, well, hey.
Yeah.
Tommy didn't like purple. He liked red.
Those are nice awards.
The Road Kings give out at
Those are
some of the
nice.
car shows. This is a group of the Road Kings up there. Again, this show is this weekend. Now, what does it cost to enter a car?
Well, the cost to enter the car is now $35, day of show.
Day of show.
However, Bob, tell you what,
We've got a special for you.
whoever would like to bring their car in, day of show, and mentions this show, just say gas today.
You got gas.
Good looking car there.
Yeah.
Anyway, you will get the same pre-entry cost of $30.
$30. So you save by $5 by telling you've got gas.
It's crazy. I was in this show last year, and I forgot, Don. I forgot. How can you say that?
Oh, man.
Well, then you can use the $5 for the custom Tropicana catering. Gourmet Catering is going to be doing the food.
Oh, that's some different food vendors this year.
Food vendor, yeah.
Nice car.
Okay.
And, what's really interesting is we're going to have, let's see, what is it here now? Don Prieto.
Don Prieto.
Prieto, okay. Now, he has a replica of Tommy Ivo's original first dragster
Yeah.
with a nailhead Buick in it.
Don put it together. We've got a bunch of guys that helped put this thing together for him and with him, and we don't want to not recognize them either. And I gone mental blank. But the car was debuted at the Grand National Roadster Show.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't bring enough stats on it.
No.
Yeah. But some of the little-known facts.
How little?
Is that. Well, I just spoke with Bob Morabas last night. I had a problem with my washer. You know how that goes.
Yeah. Your washer had a leak.
That's it. And actually dryer. But anyway.
Well, she was drier
Bob
after
was
she stopped
telling
leaking.
me that car, and Tommy got him into racing.
Yes.
Okay. And Tommy would have him come over to the house and clean the car, detail it and everything, so he could go ahead and take it to the drags, and he'd take Bob with him. Now everybody knows who Bob is, right? Bob Morabas.
Bob Morabas. Floyd Lippincott Jr.
That's it.
Drove the freight train. That was his biggest claim to fame, was the freight train, although Bob drove a number of different cars, including the Pulsator and the Western Hoist top fuel car. And we, during the nostalgia days when he was racing that, we called him B-Main Bob, because he would not qualify in the top 8, but he'd always win the second 8.
But he changed his name so his dad wouldn't find out he was drag racing.
Well, that was Steve Gibbs.
Was that
I believe
Steve
it was.
Gibbs?
That gave him the name Floyd Lippincott Jr. so that he could race without being recognized. But he also raced under the name of John Peters. And at one of the races, I think it may have been the Winter Nationals, I think it was, John Peters is listed as the winner, but he was the car owner. Bob had to hide behind it. If you look at the picture of John Peters getting the trophy, Bob's head sticking out behind him. But Bob was driving the car and was probably the most successful driver of the freight train. There were a number of drivers, including Craig Breedlove.
Gee.
But Bob was the one who figured out that the chassis moved and torqued, so he would preload the steering. And when the car would leave, the chassis would flex and go straight. Everyone else was starting with the steering wheel straight. The chassis would flex and it would turn.
Did that mean you have to fight it later on when you're not pushing somewhere?
No, because as the chassis
as
the chassis would settle, he'd bring the steering back.
Okay.
So Bob would go straight with that. He held the record for top gas until they eliminated the class back in 1972, I believe it was, and they stopped the multi-motor engine cars at that time as well. And that's what retired the freight train, was NHRA saying, no, you got to have single engines.
This is a nice car show because it's on the grass.
On the grass.
With shade and lots of different cars and nice people. And
if your oil pan drips, it doesn't get everywhere. It doesn't leave a stain.
Don't tell the
Oil does not drip on grass.
Grass, yes.
Definitely not.
Dude, you don't put
my point.
You don't put oil on your grass, man.
That's my point.
Yeah.
We promised the city.
Probably city.
We promised the city that we wouldn't drip not one bit of. Now I didn't say anything about fuel.
Fuel,
because we'll fire up a couple of cars, but
yes. No, this is a great show. Now we've had as much as 750 cars at this show over the years.
Yeah.
Don and I were the president and vice president of the Road Kings the year we started this show at Johnny Carson Park, and it was a thing where, at that point, we started something new. And we didn't expect many cars to come in, and all of a sudden around 9 o'clock the place got flooded with cars. And it grew every year to the point we took up the whole lower and upper section of Johnny Carson Park to the tune of about 700 cars and about 20,000 people. And the show is free to spectators. It's $30 pre-entry, which is a little late. But again, if you mention gas, the Great American Auto Scene, we'll give you $5 off. It'll be $30 to get into the show on Sunday to enter your car. Spectators, find a place to park. It's free. Come on in.
Yep.
That's Steffi
Yeah.
from the Long Beach Historical
hopefully
Society.
It's either Steffi or Lyn St. James. We'll find out who wins the call-in contest.
Steffi!
Steffi wins.
I
Okay,
win.
so we'll talk to Steffi first. All right, Don, what else is going on with the Road Kings?
Well, we have our meeting tonight, as you know,
Yes,
and
as
it's
we
a
know.
final meeting, and
We're going to the car show.
we're going to go to the car show, and the car show is going to be great.
This Sunday, Johnny Carson Park, right across from what used to be NBC Studios. It's now Burbank Studios. And it's right behind the St. Joseph's Hospital. So we're covered. We'll either be on screen or your heart rate will be on the monitor. Either way, you're safe. You're
I've had
over-
both experiences.
You've had, yeah, I have
actually,
too.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember I went in for a tooth extraction one time and woke up with the TV beeping at me. And I go, what the heck is this?
That's Chase Garamoth's 1960 Olds,
It was.
the orange one. Beautiful car.
Yeah, there's some great cars. You get a variety of cars at the Road Kings Car Show. Everything from T-Buckets to top fuel dragsters. And Jay Leno sometimes, if at all, every time, I won't tell you when he's going to be there, does a drive-through. And he comes in. Now, one time he did high center his car coming in the driveway.
Yeah.
He has the Blastoline Special, which was built by the Blastoline brothers up in Northern California. And this car is so long, it looks like
How long
is it?
is
it's
it,
about
Bob?
25 feet or more.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is a half a football field. But they can put it up there. It's got a tank engine, and it is a triple the size of a normal Indy car, but looks like an Indy car. And Jay will bring it in sometimes. I don't know if he'll drive it this time, but Jay Leno does normally make an appearance, but you didn't hear that from me because we want to keep this in secret. We don't want too much of a crowd around him. Come in around noon. No. And, but no, I don't know when Jay gets there. But anyway, come into the Road Kings Car Show. It's a great show. It's free to spectators. Everything from lowriders to top fuel cars, customs, hot rods, T-buckets, high boys, you name it, it's going to be at the show. Restored Thunderbirds, fire turkeys, Tommy Ivo.
Thunder chickens.
Fire chickens, yes, with the screaming chicken on there. TV Tommy Ivo will be there. Now, if you don't know who TV Tommy Ivo is, just Google Tommy Ivo. He was an actor and one of the original members of the Road Kings and was probably the most prolific drag racer of all times. The showman traveled around the country with Don the Snake Perdome as his tire wiper. That's how Don got started. And then Don bought Tommy's first car, or one of his dragsters, and that's how Don got into drag racing and became a legend.
Who's that?
I know who that person
I know.
is.
I know that wrench.
You do. And the winch, too, that's wearing it. But that's another
Sorry,
story
Peg.
altogether. Whoa. All right.
Sorry, Pig.
All right, we're going to change direction here so I don't get in too much trouble and talk about the Long Beach Historical Society. So,
wow.
Oh, well.
Are you there,
yeah.
Steffi?
Hey, Bruce, wake up.
I am here. Yes, thank you.
Thanks for holding on and hanging out with our craziness. All right, so you want to tell us about the archives and what we need for the show Chrome and where it's going to be and when and tell our hot rod audience what you're looking for?
Absolutely, thanks. I'm with the Historical Society of Long Beach, and we have an upcoming exhibit that's going to be opening July 14th. And the exhibit is named Chrome, and it is all about cruising, car clubs, and drag strips in Long Beach and the Long Beach area. We've had a lot of community members and car club members and retired Lions drag racers donate memorabilia and photos to us, and we're going to have this in our gallery open to the public for them to view starting on July 14th.
Now, if they want to send you some stuff for the exhibit, where do they send it to?
They would contact us through our website, which is hslb.org, and they can email us. If they have photos that are already scanned in, they can email those photos, or if they have memorabilia that they would like to drop off or have us scan it in-house and then return it to them, they can contact us on the phone number there, and we can set up a time with them to do that.
And how long is the exhibit going to be up for?
We have a 9-month exhibit. It'll run till early March, and we're going to have a couple special events. We're going to have a Legends of Lions Day, and I believe we're also going to have Charles Phoenix at some point.
Oh, we love him. He's so
he's
fun.
a lot of fun.
He's a mid-century modern master. of
Yes, he is.
cars
and he has so many cars.
Yeah, and architecture and wardrobe and everything. He's a lot of fun. He has a book out, doesn't he?
He does, and I believe he'll have the book at his talk that he'll be doing.
That's great. Are you going to have any panels where people come and speak besides him?
We are hoping to have a couple of panels, yes. So we can't say who yet, and we may have some special guests as well. Maybe some local Lions drag racers. So if you check out our Facebook page, which is the Historical Society of Long Beach, we're going to be posting all the events on there along with our website. But we're going to have special events throughout the 9-month exhibit.
And what is the criteria for the donations? Is it 1920 to 1970, or what years are you looking for?
We're looking for basically 1920 to 1970,
Okay.
and then in particular, we're getting a lot of stuff from post-World War II. Any vintage photos that show diners, drive-ins, the drag strips, anywhere people went in cars in the Long Beach area, that's what we're really looking for. So we want to tie in that story of what everybody was doing at that time, building cars, racing them, cruising them.
Have you, just out of curiosity, have you talked to the people at Price Transfer?
We absolutely have, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good,
and
because he's got a great exhibit.
Yes, he has an amazing exhibit, and he's going to be coming in to talk to us soon. He already is a donor with the Historical Society and very supportive of what we do here. So
Good.
We're hoping that would work out as well.
Now, did Mitch Hines call you, the grandson of Bill Hines? Because Bill Hines has his original shop in Long Beach, and he built customs there. And I told him to call you. Did he call you?
I hope he's called. I'm not certain. We have staff and volunteers here. There's at least 5 to 15 of us here at any one time. So I'll have to check and see if he is called, because we would definitely like to have more information on the local shops.
Okay, well, I'll make sure he does. All right, so we're excited. If you love cruising and cars and diners and Long Beach, send your stuff in to Steffi, and she'll exhibit it, and we're going to have fun. I can't wait to see what your special guests are going to be.
He's got our friend
Well,
Tony.
thank you so much, guys. Yes, and just keep checking our Facebook page for the event notification.
And he just had Tony Columbani from Blacktop Magazine that was interviewing you.
Oh, yeah, we had a video of you. Did you see it? No?
You were live, recorded at
You
an
were
earlier
live
time.
with Tony.
Yes, I was live with Tony.
Yes.
So.
All right, so we'll be getting to you. If you want, post on my page, Bob Beck, on Facebook, what you need, and we'll pass that on to a lot of other people, along with what's going on with the show, with you and your 9-month exhibit.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for having us on tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for all you're doing for car culture in Long Beach. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We're hoping that with everything we've collected, it's going to be stored here in our digital archives, and that future generations can reference all these photos of memorabilia for generations to come.
That's good.
All right, that'll be great. Thanks, Steffi.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, our next guest just called in, and this is a lady that, for those of you who talk about or think about Fords and Mustangs racing, this is the lady to talk to. She was the factory Ford driver and is an amazing driver. I had a co-worker at one point that went to one of her seminars or her clinics on driving, and she was driving a stock car. So Lyn went in through, and she was also on our panel at the Los Angeles or LA Driving Museum, along with Shirley Muldowney and such, and we got to talk with her then. Lyn St. James on the phone with us right now.
Hi there.
Hi, Lyn. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Now, you've got a book signing coming up just a few weeks here in Burbank.
I do. I'm in at the Aero Books Auto Bookstore, which everybody knows about. Is fabulous. And so I'll be going over there and doing a book signing on Saturday, the 23rd of June, from like 1 to 4 o'clock. And hopefully a lot of folks will show up and we can talk cars and do a great job of looking at the other books there and hopefully sell some of my books, and I'd be happy to autograph them.
All right. Could you tell some of our listeners a little bit about you? Because, well, I know about you because I followed a lot of the stuff you were doing and a lot of the racing. I was into road racing before drag racing. But can you tell some of our listeners a little bit about your background? Because it's pretty varied and extensive.
Well, it is. In fact, and it continues to get more extensive and more varied. But basically, my book it's called An Incredible Journey, and it's about my racing life. And this is my 44th year, I think, in racing. And so it started out in SCCA in the South Florida region, down in South Florida. And I started out in showroom stock in a Ford Pinto and raced on my own with my own dollars, back in the 70s in a Ford Pinto and a Cosworth Vega and a Corvette. Eventually got into the IMSA ranks and did some road racing there at the 24 Hours of Daytona, the 12 Hours of Sebring, and the Kelly American Challenge Series. And then I was fortunate, after a lot of hard work, to land a deal with Ford Motor Company, and I became, as you mentioned in the intro, a factory driver for Ford in 1981 in the Kelly American Challenge Series, and continued on road racing for the decade of the 80s with Ford contracts, racing Ford Mustangs and Mercury Capris and Ford Probe prototypes and Argo prototype with a Cosworth engine. I mean, basically Ford-powered or Ford chassis with some great teams. Roush Racing was one of those teams, Tom Gloy, Zach Speed. We just had a really amazing, just an amazing opportunity to drive a lot of things in the 80s, a lot of good equipment, including racing at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in a Cosworth Spice chassis, which was a big dream of mine, and of course having some victories at Daytona and Sebring and Watkins Glen and Road America. And then was really excited about 30 years ago. I can't believe it's 30 years ago. I went to Talladega and set some records at a stock car because I had actually started to think I might be ready to go stock car racing. And after working with Bill Elliott and going around Talladega at average speed of 212 miles an hour and top speed of about 240 miles an hour, I really didn't like the stock car all that much. And so was fortunate. I mean, I was successful. We set about 21 national and international speed records, but was fortunate to have the opportunity about 3 weeks later to drive an Indy car for the first time for Dick Simon Racing, and fell in love with that car and decided that was what I wanted to try to do before my career was over, and then went on and did the Indianapolis 500 in 1992 and was Rookie of the Year, and went on to run 7 Indy 500s and 15 IndyCar races. And kind of also, by the way, 1979, I raced at the 24 Hours of Nürburgring and had a win there with Amos Johnson and Dennis Shaw and kind of the team highball guy for BF Goodrich. So, I've raced and I've continued racing. I mean, I could go on and on about some of the cool stuff. I've been to the Bonneville Salt Flats last year, and I'm doing vintage racing now. So, racing is my life. I love it, and I feel blessed that I found it, and I'm even more blessed because I'm able to continue to do it.
Now, we hear about Danica Patrick a lot. She gets a lot of press, but your career has been far more successful, I believe, than Danica's was. She just got more publicity. You really broke ground for her.
Well, I mean, actually, I'm proud of the fact that I started working with Danica at the driver development program that you made reference to. She came to my program when she was 14 in 1996, and so I worked with her for quite a few years in her early years, and made as many introductions and actually helped her to put the package together to go over to the UK and race Formula Ford. So I was a different era. I was racing, I would not want to say that I'm better than her or had a better career than her. I mean, she came along at a different time, and, has done an amazing job, I think, on the racetrack, but it was incredibly competitive. Not that it wasn't when I did, but she's had great teams, which is always a critical piece. And she did get a lot of publicity, but to be honest, I got a lot of publicity in the 80s and the 90s. It's just she's captured the branding and the publicity and more current decades. And when social media is so big, and she got the GoDaddy deal, which put her on television with all of those Super Bowl commercials. I mean, you know, it's all about identifying a brand. And for me, I was a businesswoman, and then I had a factory drive with Ford Motor Company, and we talked about the car I'm a car girl. I'm a car person. I love cars. And Danica is a racer, and she is a professional athlete who did a great job, I think, of marketing herself and having, I think, still a pretty good career on the track.
Definitely. Now, if you could drive a car that you've not driven, I mean, if there is such a thing, what would you drive?
You know, it's funny. Jay Leno asked me that not too long ago, and I didn't have a good answer on that. I mean, actually, a Bugatti is something I've been wanting to drive, and I just got to test one for the first time, a Bugatti 51A, which is a twin turbo, a twin cam, supercharged, Bugatti from the 30s, and so completely different. But it's what a lot of the women were racing back in Europe. The Bugatti Queen was Lyn St, and some of the other very famous women drivers were racing those cars. So, I don't have like a car that I'm just drooling to drive. I'd like to drive something that I have never driven, that's unique and different. Last Friday, I drove on a racetrack, a 1912 Packard, pre-war. So,
wow.
It's all about the experience as opposed to having a particular vehicle. It's just about having a different vehicle, different technology, and having the opportunity to put it on a racetrack where I can put it through its paces.
All right, so when you're going to be in Burbank at Auto Books, that's a famous place. It's been around. Well, I don't know. I can't remember when it wasn't around, but it's back in the original location that it was originally opened up in Burbank. And Tina's running the place now, and it's gotten better and better. And you're going to be in there on the 23rd. What time of day should people come over? I know they normally have a car show there, kind of a cruise day as well.
Well, it's going to be I'm going to be driving over, so it's going to be right from Phoenix. And so it should be right after lunch. So hopefully we'll get there and be able to be all set up at 1 o'clock, and I'll stay, quite frankly, as long as people show up.
All right, so June 23rd, Auto Books, Aero Books on Magnolia Boulevard in beautiful downtown Burbank. And meet Lyn St. James. I know my wife and I are coming over to talk with you. We've already reserved the book from Tina, so that we can. We made sure we had one. We didn't want to have it run out. And my wife's looking forward. She got to meet you when we did the Women in Speed at the LA Driving Museum, but she'd really like to see you again, and she wants the book. So we bought it the other night, and that's when I found out when Tina sent me the note. I wish we would have known sooner, but we got it planned. We're going to be there, and we want everyone else there too.
Well, I mean, and it's kind of, I'm proud of the book, and people that have read it have said some really wonderful things about it, because it really explains a lot about the things that I did in racing, but also the technical things that happen while we're racing and while we're testing and while we're going through practice and qualifying, particularly when it gets to the IndyCar level where there's so many adjustments. And then at the end of every chapter, I have these I call them pit stops, and I've got some life lessons in there that even if you're not a hardcore race fan, I think that there's a benefit, or there's some enjoyment to reading the book.
Well, good. We're going to look forward to that. And we indoctrinated my wife into racing the other day. We took her to the NASCAR driving school at Irwindale.
Oh, good.
So now she gets the book. She goes, "Oh, I get to read more about what I was doing," and now she wants to do it more. But she's really looking forward to meeting you again. She got to talk with you a little bit at the LA Driving Museum, but she wants to talk to you some more. And we will see you. It's the 23rd of June. At Auto Books, and you can pull them up on the Facebook or on their website. Auto Books, Aero Books, June 23rd. Be there.
Sounds great. Look forward to seeing you, and hopefully lots of folks will come out and we'll talk cars.
We definitely will. Thank you, Lyn, for calling in. We do appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Dang, is there a car she hasn't driven?
I know, an amazing career, amazing driver. The symposium that she puts on, the drivers' clinics, one of the ladies who is a salesperson that worked the trade show booths with me in Las Vegas was a NASCAR driver up in Vegas and went to the symposium or her classes at Phoenix and came back with a wealth of knowledge and got really supercharged on what she was doing in her career racing.
Well, how about it? That's cool.
That's cool. All right, well, Bruce, you got a commercial we can show for a little bit, and then we'll reorganize ourselves and get ready to bring out some more information about the next up, TMPCC and Taste of LA.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody.
Great Plymouth sale is now. Featuring special savings on specially equipped Fury, Valiant, Barracuda, and Belvedere models. Savings on such extras as white wall tires, vinyl roof, all vinyl interior, and other popular options. All during the Great Plymouth sale. So for a great deal on specially equipped Plymouths, head for your Plymouth dealer. You'll see, when Plymouth has a sale, it isn't just good, it's great. Just look what
Pontiac introduces the first turbocharged V8 of the 80s. Available only in Trans Am or Formula Firebird. With power swelling out of the hood and telling the world where it's at. A 4.9-liter message of appreciation to true believers. The way Pontiac knows how to deliver it. The world's only turbocharged V8 available in a production car. Now that's more Pontiac excitement for the great ones.
Welcome back to Gas, the Great American Auto Scene, and you've got the second half of Gas.
Hey, by the way, you guys were just talking about, look at me breaking in.
Yes.
Breaking show format.
Breaking in, yes.
You were at the NASCAR experience at Irwindale over the weekend. I, on Saturday, was at Fontana racing the track for the Rusty Wallace race experience.
Oh, cool.
I haven't actually seen any of these photos, so I don't even know if they're going to show up. Oh, this one's like a little video or something. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's
You're
my
actually
car.
moving.
Yeah, that was
Coming
my
out
car.
of the pit. You haven't hit anybody yet.
Yeah, I think there's actually just some GoPro on-track footage, so, you know, the rest is probably just going to be still shots, I assume. So, there we go.
There you go, some more moving.
Dollar General.
Oh, hey, look, there we go. There's me
you
in the flight suit, as it were.
Cool.
Wow.
Now, we've got some
Sexy.
video I might show of my wife racing, and then she took some video of me racing. I actually got to go through the class as well.
And she called play-by-play, by the way.
I tried, yeah. She
Not
did a
you,
good job.
her.
Yeah, she did a good job
She
of
did
it.
a good job.
She did a real good job of it, and she timed me, and I was averaging 21-second laps at Irwindale, which equates to about 90 miles an hour.
Okay.
Next
So,
time, I'd
not too
say
bad.
use the car.
I should use the car.
Yeah,
I'd
I'm just
probably
saying.
go a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Especially, I run out of breath a lot quicker. But anyway, we had fun. You had fun. That is great. How fast did you get up there?
You know what? I didn't know my time until I got the footage afterward, and so you can time it by lap.
Right.
And it looks like the average was about 125, about 100, between 120 and 125. And
Not bad.
Man, it felt fast.
Isn't it?
And, it's probably the same at Irwindale. They give you a race line, and they try to, okay, stay here.
Stay here, yeah, right.
And here's where you accelerate. Here's where you, let off the
Exactly.
gas. Here's where you lift. And, the first few laps, you're just going, I hope I can see this stuff.
I know. Am I going too fast?
Yes, a lot of expensive machinery, but then finally, you just push the pedal down a little more, and
Yeah.
So it was, it was thunderous and terrifying and cool and all those words, and I'm not sure that I would go do it again, but I'm so glad that I did.
Well, the next one I want to try is I want to go on to the driving experience with a Maserati or a Lamborghini,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
they do that at Fontana as well.
Yeah, you're right.
So I want to get into that, and that's the next thing for Peg too. We're also going to take an autocross driving class. Now I've driven autocross before, but Peg hasn't. Now, she's also coming out Thursday to Irwindale, and so is Cynthia Hernandez, who is our friend that drove in another car along with Peg at the thing. Both first time they've been in a race car. Now, Cynthia from TMPCC, one of the other car clubs we belong to, is bringing her Jeep out, and she's going to race Irwindale drag strip Thursday night.
Oh wow.
Peg is thinking about bringing her Corvette out. The problem is we have to go get it because we haven't got. So she may drive her 46. Now, I don't know if she's going to drive that on the drag strip or not. I know she's not taking my HHR out there, but we'll see what happens. She may drive Irwindale this Thursday night as well, and we'll see what happens. But now, Randy, you and I had an experience. Taste of LA and TMPCC. We've talked about that. We've got a lot of photographs of that. And then you and I took a tour, and I became the guinea pig.
Indeed. In fact, it was a gastronomical sensation.
Yes.
As we somewhat used to say it from the Farrell's business. This is us as we get a chance to go through this and check out all the food. And because I was holding all the equipment, microphone and phone, Bob got to eat everything. So,
boy, some guys have all the luck, Randy.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, you weren't there afterwards.
The baklava vendor is amazing at this event at Taste of LA.
Now that's pretty awesome.
Did you do the baklava?
I did just about everything, but
so
I
good.
don't know if anything really stuck with me very long.
Here's a pork taco, I believe,
yummy.
one of your
that was
personal
so
favorites,
good.
with a little bit of onion on there. On the Food Network.
Oh, a little mince.
Everything but the Tums.
Did you want to eat anything, Randy?
Well, I'm one of those guys that kind of eats a little more healthy than other people. I'm kind of a gluten-free, and before you say, oh gosh, he's one of those, well, I am.
There's a good reason for it.
There's a good reason for it, but I had to change my diet and a few other things. But we don't do dairy. We don't do most meat.
So you got to be careful. You get what you're eating. And
and I'm looking at what Bob's eating. I'm saying, I can't have that. No, well, what about, no, can't have that. Well, I can eat the onions. No, I can't do that.
The benefit of eating everything that I ate, nothing stayed long enough to do any harm.
yeah, there you go. It
So
was in and
what's
out
your-
in no
But it
time.
looks
So are
yummy.
you saying that
it
it's
was.
basically like the whisk broom of...
I mean, the food,
Of
let me tell you.
culinary delight.
but it was
Culinary
really
delights.
good whisk broom.
The food was excellent. Let me tell you, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, it
But you know,
was.
like when you go out and I don't do this, but if you go out drinking and you have a number of different drinks, there's a reaction that happens.
Oh boy.
Same thing with food, guys.
We have a word for that. We have a phrase for that.
What's that?
China syndrome.
Oh boy! But we had some. Yes, it is, and it worked the same way. Oh my gosh!
But the food was really good.
I've never seen cotton melt like that before, but it
The
was.
food was really good.
No, the food was excellent,
and it was Flavor of LA. I went through that whole thing, and I thought it was Taste
Taste
of
of
LA.
LA. It's
So I'm
Flavor of LA?
interviewing
Yeah.
you there, and I'm looking above, and it says, "Oh,
Flavor of LA. Yes,
Meanwhile,
flavor.
the Taste of LA, which has got to be somewhere else, is
Listen.
going, "Oh no, they're talking about her." No,
and we
that's
were
not
live.
us.
But one of the things, yeah, one
There,
of the
see, it says Flavor of LA.
It says
right
Flavor
there.
of LA. But one of the things that was great about this show is not only the food, but the cars. And some of the people that came through. We met some great people there. Steve Moriarty, one of the members of the TMPCC, is also one of the guys that played the short order cook on Two Broke Girls.
Oh, what do you know?
The second guy,
The second guy.
not the guy that always had the lines.
Not the guy. Yeah, Steve was right behind him.
Steve was the
or
guy
alongside
who
him.
was didn't say a lot, but you felt his character.
Oh, boy, did you ever. All right, there's Trevor Larkin's fuel dragster. Small block Chevy. He was going to fire it up, but you can't do that on the set there anymore.
Oh, well, yeah.
Some great cars.
So they fired that up.
They fired that up to Packard, which really no one noticed.
No.
Yeah,
Is that a V12?
Yeah,
Is that-
don't remember. It was a big one. Probably was.
Yeah. Gee, that's gorgeous.
But it was
is
an
a good
amazing car.
Oh, there it is. Let's see. How many
1,
cars?
2, 3.
That
4,
was the
5.
luxury car of the 30s, Phaeton.
That was the U.S. version of a Rolls Royce,
Yeah.
I guess you could say. I mean, the Cadillac, the Packards,
The status symbol.
Lisa Leslie's car. This car wins trophies every place it goes. I mean, she's got to have a trailer to carry the trophies in a separate room.
Not to be confused with the basketball Lisa Leslie.
No, not at all. Yeah, I don't think she could.
I'm just.
I don't think she could use a basketball at all. But some great cars. Some members have some great cars. Now, that one was a familiar car. As a matter of fact, I drove that one there. That's my wife's car. 1946 Ford.
Finally, I get to see her car.
There's her car in all its glory. And, it was great. Ken spent a lot of time taking some great photos of that. Ken Lotka was there, our president. This is the nose of her car.
That's
all
nice.
beautifully pinstriped, and the car's in suede.
Oh, gorgeous.
Full house
Didn't
flathead.
she name that?
She names it Ruby. Now, I want you to look at the gas cap there. It is appropriately named. Gas hole, yes.
That's beautiful.
Good.
So, you know, when I'm standing there, she says, look at the gas hole. And people have to look. No, the cap. No, this is one of the cars from the second Knight Rider series.
When they did a Mustang, absolutely.
Yeah, when they did a Mustang. One of our members has that car.
Richard Morey.
Yeah, Richard's got it.
I believe that series was very short-lived.
Must have been, because you got a great deal on the car.
To the one with the Firebird, yes.
Yeah,
and now Ford is only going to make Mustangs.
Yeah. And
That's good.
Yeah, and I've talked to a couple of people at Ford about that and go, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
but that's what they're doing.
We'll see.
We'll see how that works out.
My eyebrows are like climbing off the top of my head at that.
Yeah,
news.
Mustangs, SUVs, and pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Ferraris, we had a beautiful little Falcon right alongside it as well.
Yeah, see if we can get another shot of that after the Ferrari. Yeah,
there it is. Nice little Falcon convertible. Yep.
Dang, that
neat little convertible. It's very clean.
Yeah. So how many cars you guys would estimate were there?
Well, I think we had a limit of like 75 cars.
Yeah.
Something of that nature, but it was a whole group. Here's Steve Moriarty's car.
Okay.
And this is a very rare Trans Am, and it's the original color. It's like a really deep, dark green.
Almost forest green.
Yeah, almost a forest green. And it's the original color. A lot of people have said, no, it's not. Well, he's got the tank paper, the bill of sale, and everything else on this car. Wow. That is an original color. It's one of a handful that were painted this color green, and it's fully restored. It's beautiful. He takes it everywhere.
Man,
you know that color green was Steve McQueen's favorite color on cars?
Well, there's that Bullet Mustang that
his Jaguar was painted that green too.
Well, but that was also a very popular color for British cars.
True.
British racing green. There's Steve standing right there with it.
Proud Papa.
Yeah.
That's a 68 car.
Steve is on set today.
Actually, I would say closer to 70. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a fastback. That's one of the original Smokey and the Bandit type. It's got the Screaming Chicken on the hood and everything else, because the Trans Am didn't come out until 1969. There was only a handful of those made.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't until the second generation that they came out in full force, and Trans Am was actually licensed from the Sports Car Club of America.
That's nice.
Yeah, the name, right? Every car they produced, they had to
pay a royalty, and I think it came to $10,000 for the rights to use it. A beautiful Model A Ford.
Yeah, with the little water cooler in the front.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we had one of those hanging out of the Volkswagen bus that my dad had.
Yeah.
You go across on big, long trips, and there's that stupid bag out there.
Yeah, well, you had some cool water.
Yeah, and it worked.
You know? And it was a beautifully restored Model A. This was a neat hot rod. Now, you look at it, you go, oh, it's a Ford. No, it's not. That is an Austin sedan.
That's Dave Wollen's car.
Okay. Yeah, I got to sit and talk with him, and it's just a neat piece. He loves driving it for short distances at slow speeds.
He is one of the automotive PR experts up at Bakersfield, and he's involved with the Kern Museum doing their automotive exhibits and stuff. So he's a very cool guy. Motorcrest Guild.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Really, I sat and talked with him for a while. Beautiful Lotus 7 or Caterham. I'm not sure if it's an original. I don't think it's an original Lotus 7. I think it's one of the continuation cars.
Man, it is pretty.
And one of our members, T-Buckets.
That's Cliff's,
Cliff's,
the Prowler. Yeah, jeez.
I got to drive, when I was working for Good Guys, I got to drive the Prowler that we gave away.
What was that like?
Claustrophobic.
Interesting.
And I like small cars, but that car was claustrophobic. You sat down so low, and it's so narrow inside. And I got to talk to Randy, and I got to talk to Chip Foose about it, because it's his design. This was Chip Foose's, I guess, a senior project, whatever it was, that he did when he was at the Arts Center.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in Chrysler.
And there he is with the car.
And there he is with the car. But Chip Foose designed the Prowler.
Huh, what do you know?
For a snug driving experience.
Yeah, it had a little Mitsubishi motor up front, V6, rear drive.
Same one I think they used to put in the Chrysler LeBarons at the time.
Yeah, not a real high-performance car, but it was a cool car. Basically, it was a factory hot rod.
Now, is that a camera car?
Yeah, well, he had it set up as a camera car. It's a Subaru. And I got a feeling if you put the boom out too far with that camera, it probably tipped the car over.
That's the original GoPro.
GoPro,
yeah, exactly.
Very slow pro.
Nice array of cars. A little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah, there was a great array of cars. There was even this beautiful white Dodge Polara.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 64.
One of my favorite. In fact, it reminded me of the car I used to have in high school.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to see it here, and you're going to just think that is such a classic car for high school.
That's right.
But that'll be coming up here in just a little bit.
But they were, and they are, and they're cool still.
Yeah, I talked to the owner, and he was just completely amazed about the whole thing.
Was he?
Yeah,
he is. He could be quite amazed at times.
Yes.
And it's Ed's car.
That's Ed's car, yeah, the Oldsmobile there.
Yeah. Little pickup
now,
truck.
this is on the back lot at CBS, and they have the Flavor of LA around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then the TMPCC members come and display their cars. And
that's Television and Motion Picture Car Club.
Look at that Studebaker.
It's invitation only. Isn't that a beauty studio?
Yeah, you got to get yours going,
yeah,
Anna.
we're getting it going.
You're working on it.
And what do you have?
I have a 55 Studebaker Commander. We just took the dash to Gene Winfield yesterday for a fade, and we're going to see what happens.
Now look at these two cars. Same owner, a Viper, and the Viper, I believe it's a Viper-powered pickup.
Huh.
But now the Viper motor that went in the pickup truck was actually a cast iron block, whereas the one in the Viper is a full aluminum block and heads. But it was a family car, the pace car.
They were selling both, by the way.
They were selling both. Yes,
right.
He due to reasons beyond his control, he's decided that it's time to have these things move on to bigger and better places. The Dodge truck is actually one of the Indy 500 pace trucks that they had back then, and the Viper was the pace car that year.
What do you know?
Here's some other car, even a Maverick on it. Or actually, that's a Comet version of the Maverick.
Yeah.
That was the Mercury version, and with the big bumper so you could push people out of your way. Beautiful Z car, a black and gold 280ZX. And this thing was just gorgeous and immaculate.
Man. You see those once in a while, but less and less, like all these cars.
Yeah.
So I talked to the owner, and he kept looking at me, and he'd say, "Quit talking to yourself in the room, Randy.
Yeah.
Let somebody else get into the men's room."
Is that yours?
That's mine.
That's Randy's car. What he was
Awesome.
doing, he was taking his phone, he was doing a Facebook Live, and he was looking at himself while he was doing the interview. So he could ask himself questions and then answer them.
That's pretty nice.
And that was
You
really
have your high
scary.
school car.
Well, no. I have a nice version of my high school
that's
car. My
nice.
high school car was a four-door sedan that I drove around and learned to drive from the Starsky and Hutch School. Of turning and sliding and cutting through.
Yes, and did you jump through the window, or maybe that was more Dukes of Hazzard?
No, you can't do that in a four-door sedan.
No.
But when I decided to get back into classic cars, that was one of the first two cars I was looking for, was the car or similar to that I had in high school.
Now, the red Challenger you see there was a show car. Ken Lotka, our president of the club of the TMPCC, that's his beauty, and it is just an amazing car.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of history of that. As a matter of fact, there's a whole story on it. Was in Driven World about a year ago, and they did a story on this car. Now, this one is neat. There's a couple that put together cars, Hearst limited edition vehicles, and this is the current Hearst
Those are nice.
Chrysler. And this thing is beautiful. It's got a special gold and white paint job, Hearst logos embroidered in the seats, the logos on the side of the car, special wheels, suspension, engine. This is an amazing car. The first one they did was a Mustang, then last year it was a Challenger, and this year it's a Chrysler 300. And I'll tell you what, this car is stunning.
I think Cynthia Hernandez and I got into a fight over one of those at the show last time. Those are nice.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, look at the detail, the paint. The car is exquisite. It's a show car, and there's the guy that builds it and his wife.
Yeah.
Well, and you put that paint, that traditional Hearst, the Hearst Olds paint, that you put it on anything and it looks great.
Yeah, I tell you what, and they kept the tradition alive. They built a limited number of these. It's got special Hearst wheels, the paint job, the embroidery, the logos. This was a beautiful 440 6-pack Challenger on RT. The only thing that was missing on it for me was the 4-speed. It had an automatic transmission.
I'll drive that.
You would.
I would.
I probably would too, but I got a soft spot in my head for manual transmissions. Now, this was the food area, the eating area. Now, when you saw Randy and I go through there, it was later in the afternoon, and they had a lot of leftovers. But
that could explain a few things.
That too. But it was wall-to-wall people. When we went through, it was towards the end of the afternoon, and people had started to leave. There was room, but there was some great food there, and the car show as well. And this is an annual event at CBS Studios. It used to be timed with the 4th of July, but they've changed it, and now they don't do it 4th of July. But
Doesn't Dom Prieto have the Food and Fuel Championships or something?
He's got his Prieto luncheon. Now, the name that I was thinking about and I hate to break into this, that helped build the Tommy Ivo current dragster was Bruce Dida. And I don't want to shortchange Bruce. Bruce did some of the work on that car and needed the recognition because he does some great work. He's reproduced Tommy Ivo's 4-engine car as well.
Gee.
But this food, they were cooking the food on site in some cases. Some cases they brought it in prepared. Everything from ice cream, tacos, fish. You were having some of the fish.
Tacos.
Ice cream and tacos. Yeah, ice cream tacos. The hard part was keeping them from. You had to eat them quick because they melted right through through the corn tortilla shells. Mm-hmm. But it was great food. There was, you name it, it was there. Whether it was fish, whether it was beef, pork, chicken. There was even healthy food there.
Well, healthy food.
Oh, wow. They had
better
tofu.
than cars and coffee. You have fuel and food.
Yes.
Ooh. Wait a minute, write that down. Fuel and food.
Fuel and food, yes. Well, that's true. We did get gas. And
but the food was really good.
Yeah. And there's Santa Claus. I mean, Skeeter. And Lucindy, his wife. They came in from Henderson, Nevada.
Is he
just
at
for
the
show.
Coachman Car Club?
He was at the Coachman Car Club, and he lives up in Henderson, Nevada now. He's a retired fireman, and you name it, he's done it. And then there's a number of the TMPC. Now, this gentleman here.
There's Ken.
But the guy that's with him is the man that designed the Ford GT.
What?
We like him.
He was the designer for Ford. He does artwork now, and he did a drawing for Randy and I. I got to find mine at home. I got to get that thing.
I don't know
framed.
if I could show the one he did for me.
No, yours you can't. Mine I probably could.
I'd have to get black strips for some reason. I don't know.
But
it was just the angle. It was nothing.
We were just sitting there watching him, and within a matter of minutes, he did these drawings for us that were just amazing, and they reminded me of the old. Who's the artist that did the things for Hefner?
Vargas.
They were single color.
Leroy Neiman.
These were on that scale, and he was great. He did design the Ford GT, the previous one, not the current one, the one just before that.
Man.
And he's just a neat guy. He's got his own business now. He does art, and it's just amazing. But he still tell us some stories about the days of at Ford as one of the designers. He was one of the youngest designers there, and got to be the guy that did the GT40. Or actually, not GT40, the Ford GT. They couldn't use GT40. That name was registered.
But wasn't it registered by Ford?
No.
What? Now, wait a minute. Because it was a Ford.
It was a Ford.
Somebody has that name.
Lola built that car. And it was based on the Lola GT chassis. Alan Grant, who Randy and I got to interview down at the show in Palm Desert, he told us a story. He's got the original Lola GT. That was the basis for the Ford GT.
Wow.
It was a GT40. And
that's the one he brought.
That's the one he brought.
Right.
And Alan was there. And it was an amazing car. He bought the car while he was a mechanic for Shelby, working at the Le Mans race. He was working in the shop at Lola. They wanted to get this thing out of the shop because they were building more cars. He bought this thing for a song.
Is Bob eating again?
Still. What do you mean?
What is that,
again?
the chicken head dance while you're
that was
eating?
the chicken ice cream.
That was the chicken ice cream, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
With the sriracha sauce.
Ooh.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah. Seriously.
Ooh. No thanks.
No.
He'll be heading for the...
Honestly, there was no ice cream in that. It was all sriracha sauce.
Okay.
It was sriracha sauce tainted with chicken.
But he liked it.
I loved it.
It was great food. It was great food.
Man, I'll tell you
Not
what.
me.
I lost more weight that weekend than I thought. Oh, hey, we didn't get our call in from Bobby Schlegel. We'll have to get with him on another day, get our East Coast race report.
I suspect Bobby's still getting used to the
Tuesday nights.
Yeah, the Tuesday nights.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing Tuesday nights.
He'll call in tomorrow.
He'll call in tomorrow. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
No, we have to get the plug-in for the next Talking About Cars.
Talking About Cars. Randy does that.
Next Talking About Cars, which, by the way, features our own Bob Beck. Bob was one of his many guest hosting appearances, co-hosting appearances.
Thank you.
And we talked to Michael Allen Ross. He's a photographer. In fact, we talked to him at the Grand National Show.
We did.
And Pomona. And Michael, you may see all of his work. If you've ever seen the Tom Cotter books, the Barn Find books,
yes,
those are great. And he did a lot of the photography, if not most of the photography on that. So he has some great car stories to tell you. Of course, you could check Talking About Cars out on radio.com, iTunes, and, of course, KNX KNX1070.com, as well as right there, our website, talkingaboutcars.net. So we'll have that. And, next time we come back, we'll have to talk about the...
Talking about cars.
Yes. Well, about the big... horny Mike controversy.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave.
Yes, we'll do
that. For that. We'll do it next time.
We'll do it next time. But hey, this Sunday.
That's a great
story. Oh, yeah. We got. Yeah, you got to listen to this, because maybe we'll do it as our own separate podcast that we can put on and not let them know what the title is going to be. But we'll put it on Facebook, but we'll have it here on the show as well.
Whatever he just said.
Am I invited to the horny Mike and his Woody episode? Or is this an all-boys thing?
It's sadly already done. It's sadly already
done.
Well,
but if you can watch it.
Yeah, if you saw the Classic Auto Show, and I hosted the celebrity stage that Friday, you probably were there. You got most of that. But
yes.
We'll have to make sure you're there next time.
I can't leave you guys alone for a minute.
Can't. And speaking of not leaving us alone,
goodness.
this Sunday, Road Kings Car Show at Johnny Carson Park in beautiful downtown Burbank. Come on out. Randy and I will be on stage. We'll be interviewing some of the people like Don the Snake Perdone, TV Tommy Ivo, and more of the history makers of drag racing at the show. There'll be hundreds of cars, lots of great food, prizes, and more. Come on out to Johnny Carson Park. Get gas. I'm Hot Rod Bob Beck, along with our co-hosts. You forgot your name?
Anna
Octane.
Guest host Randy Cardoon from Talking About Cars and KNX 1070 Radio, and Randy Cardoon is over there. And Bruce Parker.
Randy, Bruce,
Way to start the show and end the show the same way.
And on that note...
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.